Hello everyone, this is Atul Vijay Kumar from Amrita IAS Academy. Welcome back to our Prelims Master Program where I'll be discussing different ways and techniques to solve MCQs. So today we'll be going ahead with some of the economic questions that was asked in previous UPSC exams. So I'll ask question, in the context of any country, which one of the following would be considered as part of its social capital? Okay, very interesting term. I'm assuming you don't know, you would have heard about, but you don't know the definition. That's what I'm assuming. So let us see how we can track this up. So social capital, which all are the other kinds of capital you know? Do you know about financial capital? Maybe see all this stock exchange and trading and all you call it financial capital, right? Which other capital? You know about human capital? Okay, human capital makes sense. The kind of value or you can gain in an economy by virtue of having skilled human resource, right? That could be human capital. Financial capital means the actual financial resources we have with which you can function in an economy. You can perform productive activities in an economy. That is the idea of financial capital. But we still don't know what social capital is. Let us see. Proportion of literates in the population, which means higher the number of literates, some kind of capital we are going to get. But that's what we already mentioned, right? It has to be human capital. It has to be, see, if I am a literate person, I am really skilled, I am going to add to the economy obviously, but do the economy classify me as a human capital, different units of human capital, or as social capital? There is no social thing element involved, right? I am an individual and I have certain skills and I can contribute to the economy. Why should it be called social capital? It is the human capital we are looking. So it's not option A for sure. The stock of its buildings, infrastructure, machines, no. That is a normal physical capital or physical infrastructure we call it. Because these are all factors of production, right? This contribute to production, economic activity in some way or the other. The size of population in the working age group, what do we call it? We call it demographic dividend. It's not actually the size of the population. The gains that we can get due to a huge size of population in the working age group is known as demographic dividend. But overall, that is the kind of idea we are looking at. And fourthly, the level of mutual trust and harmony in the society. Okay, what does that mean? See, does it have any productive value in a society? Does it improve production? Does it have any crucial economic value? The level of mutual trust and harmony in the society. What do you think? So, if you don't think that has any value, I would ask you to consider about the idea of self-help groups, because that is a context where you would hear this term social capital. What is a self-help group? I hope all of you would have heard about social capital in the context of self-help groups. If you are a serious aspirant, you would have heard of it. But even otherwise, I'm just giving you at this point, even if you haven't solved the question in the exam, maybe you can think now. Self-help group, what are they? These are people at the grassroots, at the economically the weakest section of the people in the society. They come together, they they chip in small amounts of money that they pool that money to make it a big corpus fund, which they might deposit in a bank, so that they get loans from the bank. The bank gives loan not to the individual in this self-help group, but to the group. And group would enforce that this money is being given properly as loans to the individuals who would repay it properly, right? And they would come together and start contract farming. They would start some micro enterprises. So there is so much power that is derived due to this group spirit, what you call camaraderie. You could call it anything. So the spirit of unity and mutual trust that these people have. Okay, so these are people who doesn't have the other kinds of capital we are seeing so far. They don't have access to financial capital. They don't have so much money, but they have very little money. They don't have so much human capital because they may not be highly educated, highly literate, highly skilled or anything. So they don't have so much of human capital. And physical capital they may not have so much access to. So then how do they participate in the economy, right? can they be productive actors in an economy if they don't have access to human capital or physical capital or financial capital? So the answer is social capital. The kind of mutual trust and solidarity and the spirit of cooperation and camaraderie that these people, these marginalized people at the grassroots share, help them to act like a single block, right? Instead of these people may not be able to fight against an individual in an exploitative situation, but they can fight as a group. So this belongingness in a group helps them become productive members in the society, and that was the reason why self-help groups became such a huge success. That was the reason why Grameen Bank, pioneered by Muhammad Yunus, the Nobel laureate, became a huge success. So it's everything rotating around the idea of social capital.